And let me ask you something, when was the last time your mind was truly calm? Not scrolling, not worrying about tomorrow or replaying yesterday. Truly calm. And in a world that never slows down, your mind has become a battlefield. Pressure, expectations, fear, noise. Everyone wants a piece of your attention. I'm Andrew, and today I'm not here to push you harder. I'm here to teach you something more powerful: how to calm your mind, because a calm mind is a strong mind, and your mind is not your enemy, but when left uncontrolled, it becomes your biggest weakness. You overthink, you doubt yourself, and you imagine problems that don't even exist yet. That mental chaos steals your focus, your confidence, and your peace. But understand this, and clarity does not come from doing more. Clarity comes from slowing down. When you calm your mind, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently, and that's when you take control. Calming your mind doesn't mean running away from problems. It means facing them with strength instead of panic, and it means learning to pause before you speak, breathe before you decide, and think before you act. Powerful people are not loud inside their heads. They are composed, and they know that silence is not weakness, it's discipline. When your mind is calm, your decisions become sharper and your actions more effective. Let me be clear, and peace is not given, it is trained. You must train your mind the same way you train your body. Limit the noise. Stop feeding your mind negativity all day long, and protect your energy. Learn to sit with yourself without fear. Because when you master your inner world, the outer world stops controlling you, and stress may knock on your door, but a calm mind decides whether to let it in. A calm mind is not just a peaceful state, it is a position of power, and most people believe power comes from aggression, speed, or constant action. But true strength begins much deeper than that, and it begins in the ability to remain steady when everything around you is demanding a reaction. When your mind is calm, you are no longer controlled by emotions, pressure, and/or external noise. You are in control. That control is what separates confident leaders from confused followers and focused winners from exhausted strugglers. And think about this for a moment: every major mistake you've ever made was made in a rushed, emotional, or distracted state of mind. Anger led to words you couldn't take back, and fear led to opportunities you didn't take. Anxiety led to decisions that solved nothing. A calm mind removes that fog, and it allows you to see situations for what they really are, not for what your emotions make them seem. When your mind is calm, clarity becomes your advantage, and clarity always wins. Here's the hook most people miss: calm does not mean weak. Calm is controlled intensity, and it's the quiet confidence of someone who knows they don't need to prove anything in the moment. The calmest person in the room is often the one with the most power, and because while others are reacting, they are observing. While others are panicking, they are planning. While others are talking, they are thinking, and that calm becomes a weapon, not against others, but against chaos. A calm mind sharpens focus like nothing else. Distractions lose their grip, and you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. Your attention becomes deliberate instead of scattered. In that state, even simple actions become effective, and because they are backed by intention, you don't second-guess every move. You don't jump from one thought to another. You stay present, and presence is where real performance happens. This is why top performers protect their mental calm more than anything else. It is their competitive edge, and there is also a confidence that only a calm mind can create, not loud confidence, not fake motivation, real confidence, and the kind that doesn't shake when plans change or pressure rises. When your mind is calm, you trust yourself. You don't need constant validation or reassurance, and you know that no matter what happens, you will respond with intelligence instead of impulse. That inner trust changes the way you walk, speak, and decide, and people can feel it without you saying a word. Here's a powerful truth: your environment doesn't control your mind. Your mind interprets your environment, and two people can face the same situation. One breaks down, the other breaks through. The difference is not talent or luck, it's mental state, and a calm mind creates emotional distance between you and the problem, and that distance gives you leverage. Instead of being inside the storm, you rise above it, and when you're above it, you can navigate it. A calm mind also protects your energy. Constant stress drains you without you realizing it. It keeps you tired, reactive, and mentally exhausted. Calm restores that energy. It allows you to operate longer, sharper, and stronger. You stop fighting unnecessary battles in your head, and you stop replaying conversations. You stop worrying about things you can't control. That saved energy goes into growth, discipline, and execution. And this is why calming your mind is not optional, it's foundational. Every great decision, every disciplined action, every moment of confidence begins with mental calm. And if you want control over your life, you must first gain control over your inner state. Because when your mind is calm, nothing outside of you has the power to break you. And most people believe progress comes from doing more, moving faster, pushing harder, filling every moment with activity. But here's the truth that challenges that belief, and effort without control creates exhaustion, not results. Life doesn't demand that you rush, it demands that you lead yourself. And leadership begins with control. And when you lack control over your thoughts, emotions, and impulses, no amount of effort will move you forward in the right direction. Consider this, and how often have you stayed busy all day, yet felt like nothing meaningful was accomplished? That's not a lack of effort, that's a lack of direction. And speed without control is just noise. When you slow down mentally, you regain authority over where your energy goes. You stop reacting to every distraction, every message, and every opinion. Instead of being pulled in 10 directions, you choose one and move with purpose. That single shift changes everything. Here's the hook most people resist, and slowing down is not falling behind. It's setting the pace. When you move too fast mentally, you miss details, make emotional decisions, and repeat mistakes. And control allows you to pause before committing, to evaluate before acting, and to respond instead of react. That pause is powerful. In that space, mistakes are avoided, and clarity appears, and confidence grows. Control doesn't delay success, it accelerates it by eliminating unnecessary struggle. And emotional control is where most people lose momentum. One bad comment ruins the day. One setback kills motivation. One delay creates frustration. Without control, and emotions decide your actions. With control, emotions become information, not commands. You acknowledge them, but you don't obey them blindly. And that ability keeps you consistent even when motivation fades. Consistency, not intensity, is what creates lasting results. Control also brings mental freedom. And when you're not constantly rushing, you stop living in survival mode. Your mind is no longer trapped in urgency. You begin to think strategically instead of impulsively, and you see long-term outcomes instead of short-term relief. This is where growth becomes intentional. You don't just react to life, you design how you engage with it. And that sense of command over your inner world is deeply empowering. There's another truth few talk about. Business is often a disguise for avoidance, and moving fast feels productive, but it can be a way to avoid difficult decisions or uncomfortable thoughts. Slowing down forces honesty. It forces awareness, and awareness gives you control. When you face what you've been avoiding, you stop leaking energy and start building momentum in the right direction. And control also protects you from burnout. When you push without boundaries, your mind and body eventually push back. But when you operate with control, you know when to act, and when to pause, and when to reset. That balance keeps you effective for the long run. You stop relying on pressure to perform and start relying on discipline. And discipline is calm. Discipline is controlled. And discipline always outlasts motivation. The most successful people are not the most frantic, they are the most deliberate, and they understand that power is not measured by how busy you look, but by how intentionally you move. When you replace constant effort with conscious control, and your actions become precise, your decisions become cleaner, and your progress becomes sustainable. You don't need to do more, you need to do better, and better begins with control. Most people believe strength is loud. They think power is proven through constant talking, instant reactions, and aggressive opinions. But real strength doesn't announce itself. It shows up as silence, composure, and control. Silence builds strength because it gives you command over yourself, and in self-command is the highest form of power. The moment you stop reacting to everything, you start rising above it. And think about how often words have weakened positions instead of strengthening them. Speaking too soon reveals insecurity. Reacting too fast exposes emotion, and explaining too much gives away leverage. Silence, on the other hand, creates mystery, authority, and presence. When you choose silence, you give yourself time to think and to read the situation and to decide rather than explode. That pause alone separates disciplined individuals from emotionally driven ones. And here's the hook most people overlook: silence is not the absence of action, it's the preparation for the right action. While others rush to speak, and the silent mind is working, it's observing tone, body language, and intention. It's filtering emotion from facts. And that internal processing builds mental strength because it trains patience and emotional regulation. Over time, that ability becomes automatic, and you begin to move through pressure with ease instead of resistance. Silence also protects your energy. Every unnecessary argument, explanation, and/or reaction drains mental resources. You may win the moment but lose clarity, peace, and focus. Strong people understand this trade-off, and they don't waste energy proving themselves to people who have already decided not to understand them. They choose silence not because they lack words, but because they value their energy. That choice keeps them centered and unshakable. There is a confidence that grows in silence. Not the confidence that seeks approval, but the kind that comes from self-trust. When you don't feel the need to explain yourself constantly, you send a clear signal to yourself and to others, and that you are secure in your decisions. That inner certainty changes how people respond to you. Your presence becomes heavier, your words more impactful, and because you don't overuse them. Silence gives weight to what you eventually say. Silence also strengthens emotional intelligence, and it teaches you to sit with discomfort without reacting. Anger rises, but you don't release it. Frustration appears, but you don't act on it. In that restraint, you grow stronger. You learn that emotions are temporary signals, not commands. Each time you choose silence over reaction, you reinforce discipline, and discipline compounds into strength. In moments of pressure, silence becomes a shield. When others panic, justify, or defend, the silent individual remains composed, and that composure confuses chaos. It shifts power. People begin to project their own uncertainty onto the calm one, assuming confidence and control. This is not manipulation, and it's presence. Calm silence communicates that you are not threatened, not rushed, and not controlled by external noise. Silence also sharpens listening, and in listening is a form of strength most people underestimate. When you listen deeply, you gain information others miss. You understand motivations, fears, and intentions, and that understanding gives you an advantage in every interaction, whether personal or professional. You stop guessing and start knowing. Knowledge, and combined with calm restraint, creates unstoppable confidence. Strength is not proven by how quickly you react, but by how steadily you hold yourself, and silence trains that steadiness. It teaches you that you don't need to win every moment to win the long game. By choosing silence, you choose clarity. By choosing composure, you build strength that doesn't fade under pressure. Most people treat something accidental, something you either have or you don't, depending on circumstances, and they wait for life to slow down, for problems to disappear, or for everything to line up perfectly before they feel calm. That mindset keeps them trapped, and peace is not a gift handed to you by life, it is a skill built through deliberate practice. And like any skill, it strengthens only when you train it under pressure, and not when things are easy. Here's the hook that changes perspective: if peace depended on perfect conditions, no strong person would ever be calm, and the world is unpredictable by nature. Challenges, delays, criticism, and uncertainty are guaranteed, and the difference between those who stay grounded and those who break down is not circumstance, but preparation. People who are calm have trained themselves to be calm, and they've practiced how to respond when emotions rise, how to slow their thoughts, and how to regain balance when stress hits. Training peace starts with awareness, and you can't control what you don't notice. Most emotional reactions happen automatically because the mind is untrained. A comment triggers anger, a delay creates frustration, and a comparison causes insecurity. Training peace means noticing the reaction before it takes over. That moment of awareness creates choice. And choice is power. And when you can choose your response, peace stops being accidental and starts being intentional. Discipline is the foundation of this training, and just like physical strength requires consistent effort, mental calm requires daily practice. It shows up in small decisions, choosing not to overreact, and choosing not to complain, choosing to breathe instead of explode. These moments may seem insignificant, but they compound. Each time you choose calm over chaos, and you reinforce the habit. Over time, peace becomes your default state, not something you chase. Another hook most people miss: peace doesn't remove intensity, it refines it, and You can be calm and driven at the same time. You can be ambitious without being anxious. Training peace allows you to operate at high levels without burning out, and instead of stress fueling your actions, clarity does. That clarity makes your effort more precise and your progress more sustainable. You don't lose hunger, and you gain control. Environment also plays a role in this training. What you consume mentally shapes your inner state. Constant negativity, comparison, and noise weaken your ability to stay calm. Training peace means being selective about conversations, information, and even people. This isn't isolation, it's protection. And just as an athlete protects their body, a disciplined mind protects its peace. That protection is a form of self-respect, and training peace also means learning to sit with discomfort. Most people escape discomfort through distraction, noise, or impulsive action, but peace grows when you stay present with discomfort and don't let it dictate behavior. That tolerance builds emotional resilience. You realize that discomfort passes, and emotions settle and clarity returns if you allow it. This realization is empowering because it removes fear from difficult moments. The more you train peace, and the less external events control you. Delays stop feeling personal, criticism loses its sting, uncertainty becomes manageable, and you stop needing constant reassurance because you trust your ability to regulate yourself. That trust creates inner stability, and inner stability creates confidence. And calm stops being something you hope for and becomes something you carry. Peace as a skill transforms how you move through life, and you stop chasing calm and start generating it. You no longer depend on circumstances to feel grounded. You depend on your training, and that training gives you an edge that no external success ever could. Overthinking feels productive, but it is one of the most effective ways to stay stuck. And the mind convinces you that constant analysis will protect you from failure, but in reality, it keeps you trapped in hesitation. While you are busy replaying scenarios, and opportunities are moving past you. Overthinking is not intelligence, it is fear disguised as preparation. And the moment you learn to calm your mind, and that fear loses its grip. Here's the hook most people don't expect. Clarity doesn't come from thinking more, it comes from thinking less with purpose. And overthinking floods your mind with possibilities, most of them negative or exaggerated. It drains mental energy and replaces confidence with doubt, and every decision begins to feel heavy. Every step feels risky. A calm mind cuts through that noise. It simplifies. It separates what matters from what doesn't, and in that simplicity, progress becomes possible again. Doubt feeds on overthinking. The more you analyze, the more you question yourself, and you start asking the wrong questions. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if I'm not ready? These questions don't protect you, they paralyze you, and when the mind is calm, those questions lose volume. You stop arguing with yourself and start trusting yourself. That trust is where confidence is born, and calming the mind doesn't mean shutting off thought, it means directing it. Instead of spinning in circles, your thinking becomes linear and purposeful, and you focus on the next step, not the entire staircase. That shift alone reduces pressure. Confidence grows when tasks feel manageable, and tasks feel manageable when the mind is calm enough to stay in the present instead of racing into imagined futures. Another powerful hook, and overthinking is often a sign of emotional attachment to outcomes. You want certainty, approval, or perfection. But life doesn't operate on guarantees, and a calm mind accepts uncertainty without collapsing under it. When you accept that you can't control every outcome, you stop obsessing over them, and your energy returns to effort, not worry. That redirection is what turns hesitation into action. As overthinking fades, focus sharpens, and distractions lose power because your mind is no longer fragmented. You stop switching between ideas, doubts, and fears. Your attention locks onto what you are doing now, and this level of focus creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence not through motivation, but through evidence. Each completed action becomes proof that you are capable, and that proof is far more powerful than positive thinking. A calm mind also restores decision-making speed. Overthinkers delay because they are afraid of choosing wrong, and calm thinkers choose, adjust, and move forward. They understand that progress beats perfection, this willingness to act even without complete certainty, and separates growth from stagnation. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from it. And action becomes easier when the mind is no longer overloaded, and the most important shift happens internally. You stop identifying with every thought. You realize that thoughts are temporary, not commands, and this distance gives you freedom. Fear may appear, but it doesn't control you. Doubt may arise, but it doesn't define you. Calm creates that space, and in that space, your true capability emerges. When the mind is calm, overthinking loses its authority. Focus returns, confidence stabilizes, and progress feels natural instead of forced, and you move forward not because fear disappeared, but because it no longer controls your direction. And most people spend their lives trying to control everything outside of themselves. People, situations, outcomes, timing, only to feel frustrated and powerless. And here's the hook that changes everything: the moment you gain control over your mind, the outside world loses its power over you. And mastery doesn't begin with circumstances aligning, it begins with your inner state becoming stable. When your mind is steady, and life stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling manageable. Your mind is the control center of your life. Every action you take, every decision you make, and every habit you build starts there. If your mind is scattered, your life reflects confusion. If your mind is disciplined, your life reflects direction. And this is not philosophy, it's reality. You can't build a strong life with a weak inner foundation. And mastering your mind means choosing thoughts intentionally instead of letting them choose you. Here's a truth most people never confront: an external success without inner control is fragile. Money, status, or recognition can disappear, but mental mastery stays. When your mind is trained, and setbacks don't destroy you, criticism doesn't derail you, pressure doesn't break you. You remain grounded because your sense of control comes from within and not from circumstances behaving the way you want. Mastering your mind gives you emotional authority. Instead of emotions dragging you from one extreme to another, and you learn to observe them without being consumed. Anger may arise, but it doesn't dictate your words. Fear may appear, but it doesn't stop your movement, and that separation creates freedom. You stop being a prisoner of mood and start acting from intention. That alone elevates every area of life: relationships, work, and personal growth. Another powerful hook: when you control your mind, time starts working for you instead of against you. And you stop procrastinating because fear loses control. You stop rushing because anxiety no longer drives you. Your actions become timely, not impulsive. And this balance creates consistency, and consistency compounds. And small disciplined actions repeated daily reshape your life faster than occasional bursts of motivation ever could. Mental mastery also sharpens self-respect, and you begin to trust yourself because you follow through. You say less and do more. You stop making promises you can't keep, especially to yourself, and that integrity strengthens confidence at its core. Confidence built this way doesn't need validation. It's quiet, stable, and unshaken by comparison or opinion. And when your mind is mastered, your focus deepens. You no longer scatter your energy chasing every opportunity or distraction. You commit. You stay present, and you finish what you start. This depth of focus creates excellence, and excellence creates options. Life opens up not because luck arrived, but because you became capable of handling more responsibility. Control over the mind also transforms how you experience challenges. Problems stop feeling personal, and obstacles become information instead of threats. You analyze instead of panic. You adapt instead of complain. This shift turns adversity into training rather than trauma, and each challenge strengthens you instead of draining you because your inner state remains intact. Here's the most important hook, and no one can take this control from you once it's built. External power can be lost, influence can fade, but mental mastery is internal ownership, and it travels with you everywhere. It's there in silence, pressure, success, and failure. And that's why mastering your mind is the highest form of self-reliance. And when your inner world is disciplined, your outer world aligns naturally. You stop chasing control and start embodying it. And from that place, and life no longer feels overwhelming, it feels intentional. So here's my challenge to you: slow down today. Breathe, detach from the chaos. Remember, and you don't need to win every argument, react to every opinion, or chase every thought. Calm your mind, and you will see clearly. And when you see clearly and you move confidently, a calm mind builds a powerful life. Control your mind, and you control your future.